So, at the moment, we're letting Misaka's powers run wild in an attempt to forcefully push her towards level 6. If she keeps growing as she has been, then theoretically, when she reaches 53% completion, her mind will transform into an other-dimensional entity. When she reaches 100%, the moment she becomes level 6, both her body and mind will reach their limit, and I theorize that she'll come apart as an individual.
Hello everybody, MegaZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very exciting video, and for today, I'm going to be reviewing a certain scientific Railgun T episode 12 called Exterior. And if you haven't already watched my episode 11 review of a certain scientific Railgun T, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check that video out, and then bounce back over and watch this one though. But man, I gotta say, alrighty, I was thinking we're almost at the peak, and then you be riding that roller coaster and you think you're about to drop, but then you keep going up and up and up, and then I'll be like, oh man, I'm trying to get to this climax, baby. I'm ready for it though. But man, we've just been slowly kind of inching towards it, and man, all the action that's been leading up to this final climax has been really exhilarating though. And man, for pretty much the majority of this episode, it was basically taking place in like 3 different areas. We had like 3 different fronts kind of happening within this whole entire thing though. A lot that basically went down in this episode though. So let's go ahead and just jump straight up in this though. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight up into this episode review of a certain scientific Railgun T. At the end of the last episode, events were heading in the direction of a battle of 3 fronts, with each front tackling one aspect of the overall problem. The episode spends all of its time playing out these 3 fronts, as well as filling in some previous gaps in knowledge about the overall scheme. The result is a setup for what I'm presuming will be the arc's climax next episode. The front which gets the least amount of attention is the attempt of Touma and Sogita to contain Mikoto as her power rages. The transformation of her power are somewhat interesting, but this part is mostly about the 2 strategizing and how Sogita demonstrating that he's tough as well as powerful. I mean, Misaka literally smacked this dude like some kind of a rag doll, which caused him to ricochet and bounce off the ground and collide into a nearby building. If that man would have been any other person, or shoot, even some other experts that don't have like a really strong physical defense, then chances are that they would have been killed or at least severely injured though.
Said slow down, not completely stop.
So for the most part, that part is over for this episode anyway, by the time the opener even starts. Now the one key part here is that Touma is fully aware that someone else is working somewhere to shut down the power feed to Misaka. So the 2 of them must really need to basically slow down the transformation of Misaka advancing to level 6 instead of trying to solve the whole problem themselves. The second front involves Kuroko going after Midori Kozaku, who is the one most directly controlling Misaka at this point. Kuroko can be an interesting character when she isn't losing her mind over her attraction to Misaka, and she has shown before that she can be a dynamic figure to watch in a fight. She reminds us again here how sharply witted and resourceful she is, both at strategizing and at getting the maximum benefit from her teleporting ability. So from this point, Kuroko and Midori basically have a pretty good cat and mouse game going on here, though who's the cat and who's the mouse varies throughout this episode though. Also, it was nice to see Saten and Uriharu were providing useful backup for Kuroko, which honestly, we hadn't really get to see them in a whole bunch of action, due to the fact that they don't really have like expert powers that, to a significant degree that can help out in fights though. But it was nice to be able to see them here in this episode though. The most featured front is the third, the duel of wits between Misaki and Gensei. And this is where most of the meat and potatoes were in this episode. This was the most pivotal battle, as without the code Shokuhou has, Gensei can't use exterior to keep control over Misaka past a certain point, while Shokuhou can potentially shut down the whole thing if she can stop Gensei. As the battle plays out, it spills some key clarifications, such as that Accelerator isn't the only level 5 who could achieve level 6, he's just the one who's judged capable of doing it stably. Makoto is, instead, expected to lose her sense of self as she approaches godhood, essentially. We already saw signs of that last episode, but I find it interesting that she, perhaps the most capable of all the level 5s under normal conditions, is judged incapable of handling it. But Shokuhou is stressing less over Misaka's safety and more over Misaka reaching a state will likely result in the city's destruction from the energy release. Seeing that peak achieved, if only for a moment, appears to be Gensei's ultimate goal, which seems somewhat vague and rather odd considering that if everything goes according to his plan, it could very well cost him his life along with everyone else here in Academy City for the sake of pushing science forward. So at this point, this dude pretty much lost his mind, let's just be honest though. What isn't vague is how much of a disadvantage Shokuhou is here. Though she's on turf she controls, she's forgetting that in a battle of two schemers, the more veteran one is always going to have the advantage. Gensei's solution to normally being powerless is to set up use of multi-skill, and on top of that, Shokuhou doesn't realize that she's giving away too many tells and trying to lure him into traps. The fact that she's unathletic, too much curves, too little muscle, which the camera seems determined to remind the viewers of in more ways than one if y'all can notice my drift, also once again works against her. The end of the episode has her in dire straits, and of the three fronts, hers is the one where I can least see how she's going to pull out a reversal, but that does make for a nice cliffhanger for the next episode. And as a short little quick final thought, I am pleased to see that the virus related production problems the series has had throughout this series airing has not kept it from maintaining a high level of artistic quality control, and the fact that they're able to keep this consistent despite the circumstances is very pleasing. So I wanted to say, hats off to the animators who work hard during these hard and trying times. Also credit to the voice actors who are working hard as well to produce that good quality content as well. But that's pretty much all that I have to say about this episode though. So man, oh gosh, you know what, this was a really cool and fun, interesting episode though. The one that didn't have like a lot of emphasis was definitely that part with Touma as well as Sogita, trying to basically slow down the transformation of Misaka from her advancing to level 6. You know what, they're just trying to slow things down though, but then the real meat and potatoes is over here with Shokuhou facing Gensei though, and then you also have Kuroko as well as Midori though. But looking at the front between Shokuhou and Gensei, it was really interesting to try to see how Shokuhou was going to try to find a way to one-up Gensei. And Gensei is basically a genius at this point though, and man, that one moment in that episode where he pulled out that what the heck moment where it seemed like Shokuhou almost managed to capture him in one of her traps when his hand got stuck in a wall where it was able to kind of form some cells around in order to kind of like re-solidify like a wall or a pathway or whatever though. It managed to seem like she finally managed to catch him and be able to kind of stop Gensei though. But the matter of fact, this man experimented on his body so much so that he even had robot parts in his body because he experimented even on himself that much. I'm like, what the heck, man? This man was literally prepared for anything. I'm sorry, Shokuhou, you tried your best though, but this man clearly one-upped you in every way possible in this episode though. And we basically got to see towards the very end that he's basically able to kind of suffocate her, and with that kind of trauma going to her brain, he'll be able to use his powers in order to kind of get the codes to exterior, so that way he's going to be able able to try to, control Misaka and try to put all of his plans to fruition though. So man, this is really interesting though, and it really does seem like, with this basically playing out, we might be getting very close to that peak climax though. But man, y'all gotta let me know down in the comment section down below, what all did you think about this episode? Man, what did you think about these 3 different fronts that happened within this episode? What was your favorite part though? And man, I'm just really looking forward to next week's episode though. So make sure to tune back in for my review over episode 13 called System. So if you really like this review, make sure to hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell in order to stay notified on all things a certain scientific railgun tea that's happening this season, y'all. So remember, y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.
You're out. You have nothing left up your sleeve to reverse the situation, do you? And now the limiter unlock code is mine.